7 weeks, countless standoffs, the longest shutdown in U.S. history, finally over. What ultimately broke the deadlock? Plus, the Jeffrey Epstein emails are out. Some mention Donald Trump. Now the fight over what they mean, truth or political theater. And Mother Nature puts on a show. The northern lights coloring the night sky as far south as Atlanta. The stories that matter, clear and credible, from across the country to around the world. These are your unbiased updates from Straight Arrow News. Good morning, I'm Craig Negrelli. After 43 days, the longest government shutdown in U.S. history is finally over. President Trump signed the funding bill into law late last night, and that's where we begin this morning. The House voted 222 to 209 to pass a deal negotiated by Senate Republicans and 8 Democrats, keeping the government open through January. The agreement also reverses the mass layoffs of federal workers and restores SNAP benefits for millions of Americans. 6 House Democrats joined nearly all Republicans to vote yes, while 2 Republicans crossed the aisle to vote no. Many Democrats were opposed to the bill because it does not extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits that expire at the end of the year.
So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. So I'm always willing to work with anyone, including the other party. We'll work on something having to do with health care. We can do a lot better. We can do great.
With the government reopening, the FAA is freezing flight cuts at dozens of major airports. The shortage of air traffic controllers had forced a 6% reduction in flights, a number that was set to grow to 10% by Friday. The Department of Transportation now says those decreases won't happen, though it's unclear when flights will fully return to normal. Newly released emails written by convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein are sending shockwaves through Washington this morning, including mentions of President Trump and a bitter political fight over whether the public should see all the Epstein files. More than 20,000 emails sent by Epstein between 2011 and 2019 were made public by House lawmakers on Wednesday. In one 2011 message to Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein claimed that then businessman Donald Trump, quote, spent hours at my house with a young woman who would later accuse Epstein of sex trafficking, calling Trump that dog that hasn't barked. In another email, Epstein wrote to author Michael Wolff that Trump, of course, knew about the girls and asked Maxwell to stop. And in a separate 2015 exchange, Wolff warned Epstein that if Trump denied ever visiting him, quote, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency, end quote. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released those emails first, saying they raised new questions about what Trump knew and when. Republicans responded hours later with a 20,000-page dump of Epstein documents from the estate, accusing Democrats of, quote, cherry-picking to embarrass the president. Here's how the White House hit back on Wednesday.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep. And this email you refer to with the name of a victim that was unredacted now and has since been reported on in this room, so I will go ahead and say it, Virginia Giuffre. And it was CBS's own reporting, Ouija, that recently wrote that Miss Giuffre maintained, and God rest her soul, that she maintained that there was nothing inappropriate she ever witnessed, that President Trump was always extremely professional and friendly to her.
The White House is calling the emails a hoax, arguing Trump hadn't had contact with Epstein in decades, and Democrats are trying to change the subject away from the government shutdown. Republicans note the woman Epstein referred to in that 2011 email, as you just heard there from Caroline Levitt, is Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's best-known survivors, who died by suicide in April and who never accused Trump of wrongdoing. The emails span from 2011, as Epstein rebuilt his social circle, to 2019, months before he died in federal custody. They include correspondence with Wolff, who later wrote a book about Donald Trump. Those documents surfaced on the same day the House returned from a 7-week shutdown recess, and its newest member, Arizona Democrat Adelita Grijalva, was swept into the center of the Epstein fight. Moments after being sworn in, Grijalva signed the discharge petition to force a vote on releasing all government files related to Jeffrey Epstein, giving the effort its crucial 218th signature.
With my signing, we move one step closer to the truth that they will try to deny, but that survivors deserve their day of justice, and the American people demand it.
Her signature means the House must now hold a vote on a bipartisan bill sponsored by Republican Thomas Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna, requiring the Justice Department to release all Epstein files with the victims' names redacted. All 214 Democrats and 4 Republicans have signed on. House Speaker Mike Johnson confirmed late Wednesday he will bring the bill to the floor next week, earlier than expected. The vote will force members of both parties to go on the record about making the full Epstein files public, an issue that has drawn support from Trump allies and Democrats alike. As for Grijalva, her swearing in ended a 7-week delay that Democrats say was designed to keep her from signing that petition.
It has been 50 days since the people of Arizona's 7th Congressional District elected me to represent them. This is an abuse of power. One individual should not be able to unilaterally obstruct the swearing in of a duly elected member of Congress for political reasons.
Johnson insists the delay was procedural, not political, as well as delayed by the shutdown. The Speaker says he followed House custom and that Grijalva didn't miss a vote. A federal judge in Illinois has ordered hundreds of people arrested in the government's immigration crackdown in Chicago, known as Operation Midway Blitz, to be released, ruling that many of the arrests may have been unlawful and violate a previous court order. U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Cummings ordered the first 13 detainees freed by tomorrow and more than 600 others released into ICE's Alternatives to Detention programs by next Friday. Immigration advocates argued that federal agents were arresting people preemptively out of fear they might flee before a warrant was issued, a direct violation, they say, of a 2022 consent decree recently extended into 2026. Cummings agreed, saying Homeland Security and ICE have repeatedly violated that order. He also directed the government to hand over a complete list of everyone detained by ICE or Border Patrol by next Wednesday, so advocates can identify who was wrongfully arrested. Just this week, President Trump touted Operation Midway Blitz as a big success, claiming shootings, robberies, and carjackings have fallen in Chicago and saying the full surge is still to come. Also from Chicago this morning, civil rights leader the Reverend Jesse Jackson is in the hospital. The 84-year-old founder of the Rainbow Push Coalition is under observation for progressive supranuclear palsy, a rare neurodegenerative disorder that impacts balance, movement, and eye control. In a statement, his organization says Jackson was first diagnosed with Parkinson's disease years ago, but doctors confirmed earlier this year that his actual condition is PSP. The coalition says he's been managing the illness for more than a decade and remains surrounded by family, in good spirits, as he receives care. Finally this morning, a rare and stunning sight in the night skies. A powerful solar storm lit up the heavens across much of the United States, bringing the northern lights to places that almost never see them. The colorful glow of the aurora borealis shimmered over cities as far south as Atlanta, with faint ribbons of pink and green even visible above the skylines. In the northern states, the show was nothing short of spectacular, brilliant streaks of color stretching across the skies in New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Minnesota. By the way, if you missed it on Wednesday night, don't worry, you might still get another shot tonight. NOAA says the storm is strong enough that the northern lights could again be visible across much of the country. Just check out their online Aurora map for your best viewing window, so to speak, and keep your eyes on the sky. By the way, we had a neighbor capture the spectacular reds here in the Midwest, and then she shared it on a group text so everybody in our cul-de-sac pretty much could see it. It was really, really neat and spectacular. That certainly is the right word. All right, a packed Thursday ahead, starting in New York, where a judge takes up a major challenge from former FBI Director James Comey and Attorney General Letitia James. Both want their criminal cases thrown out, arguing the Trump-appointed prosecutor was never legally chosen. At noon, we'll check the latest mortgage rates from Freddie Mac, a key snapshot of the housing market. Later this afternoon, President Trump signs a new executive order alongside the First Lady. And tonight, the stars come out for the Latin Grammys, with music's biggest names hitting the red carpet in Las Vegas. Hey, skip the drama, skip the rumors, just wake up smarter. Sign up for our Unbiased Updates newsletter, san.com/newsletters. Those are your Unbiased Updates for this Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Friday. We'd love that. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.